You know that feeling, right? You hit a huge goal. Maybe it's a promotion, a big sale, you finish a massive project, and for a minute, you're on top of the world. But then it just fades. And you're left thinking, wait, is this it? That gap, the one between what we achieve and how we feel, that's one of the biggest challenges in our professional lives. So let's dive in and figure out how to close that gap for good. A lot of the time, the problem really starts with how we're defining our goals in the first place. On one side, you've got success. It's all external stuff, right? Things you can measure, like your income, your job title, the awards on your shelf. It's what society screams at us to chase. But then, on the other side, there's fulfillment, and that is 100% internal. It's that deep sense of contentment you get when your actions actually line up with your purpose. See, success gives you a temporary high, but fulfillment, that delivers lasting well-being. And this right here creates what we can call the success fulfillment gap. This is the core problem we're going to tackle in this explainer. And the answer isn't about chasing more and more external validation. Nope. The answer lies in understanding this hidden engine that's running our lives from the inside out. Which brings us to the million-dollar question. How is it possible to do everything right, hit every single target you set for yourself, and still feel like something fundamental is missing? Well, the disconnect isn't in what you're doing, it's in your programming. Okay, so let's think about our minds like a computer for a second. They're running on this really powerful two-part operating system. And the secret to closing that success fulfillment gap is learning how to become the master programmer of the system, instead of just being a passive user. So part one of this system is your mindset. This is the deep underlying code. It's built from all your learned beliefs, your assumptions, and the stories you tell yourself to make sense of everything that happens. You can think of it as the foundational software that's been installed in you over years and years. And part two is your state. Now, if mindset is the software, your state is the computer's real-time condition. It's your RAM, your processing power, your battery level at any given moment. It's your physical, emotional, and mental condition right now. And, this is key, it determines how well you can even run your software. So here's the absolute crucial point, the main takeaway. Mindset is the code, but state is the runtime. You can have the most brilliant positive code written in your mind, but if your state is stressed, tired, or anxious, you won't be able to access it. It's like having the best app in the world on a phone with 1% battery. You can't just change your beliefs, you have to actively manage your in-the-moment condition, too. So how in the world do we do that? Well, the good news is there's a practical, repeatable framework for upgrading this inner operating system. It's a 4-step cycle that lets you actually take control. And here's how it works. It's a really elegant loop. We start with self-awareness, just seeing our own patterns. Then we move to self-management to actively reprogram them. Once we've got a handle on our own system, we turn our focus outward to social awareness, learning to read other people's patterns. And finally, we get to social management, where we learn to influence the whole system. It's just a continuous cycle of growth. All right, step 1, self-awareness. Think of this as the diagnostic phase. You put on your detective hat. It starts with identifying your triggers. What people, what situations, what deadlines set off an automatic knee-jerk response. Then you've got to recognize the default stories your brain loves to tell, like, oh, they're totally disrespecting me. And just as important, you need to track your physical state clues. Is your breathing getting shallow? Are your shoulders tensing up? You have to learn to pause and ask, okay, what code is running in me right now? Once you're aware of the code, you can move to step 2, self-management. And one of the most powerful tools for this is the if-then plan. It's so simple, but it works. Instead of just reacting, you pre-program a new response. If I receive a terse message, there's your trigger, then I will pause for one single breath. You are literally, in that moment, rewriting your code to create a better, more intentional outcome. And managing your state, this isn't just some fluffy, wishful thinking. This is science. There are actual established techniques, like state elicitation, designed to help you deliberately shift your internal chemistry. You can change your physiology, stand up, take a deep breath, move your body to change your emotional and mental state on demand. It's a skill you can learn. Okay, so after you start to master your own internal world, you turn your attention outward to step 3, social awareness. This is all about learning to decode the operating systems of other people. Before you even get into what you're talking about, you try to map their world. What are their constraints? What motivates them? What are they afraid of? You use perspective taking, really trying to see the world from their screen. And you watch their state cues, just like you did for yourself. Then you can test your theory. Hey, sounds like predictability is really important here. Am I getting that right? And that leads us to the final step, social management, where you put it all together and apply what you've learned. You can start by matching someone's pace and tone just to build that initial rapport, and then you can gently lead the conversation where it needs to go. You work together to figure out what a win looks like for everybody, propose really simple next steps to get some momentum, and you always circle back to debrief and learn how to collaborate even better next time. So you can see how this cycle builds, right? It starts with personal insight, but it leads directly to professional impact. This inner work isn't just for you, sitting alone and meditating. It scales up, and it has a massive effect on your ability to lead and succeed out in the real world. And hey, the data completely backs this up. This whole cycle is fundamentally about building your emotional intelligence, your EQ. Now, for an individual contributor, EQ might account for about a quarter of their success, which, pretty significant. But look what happens. By the time you reach a senior executive role, it's responsible for a staggering 85 to 90% of your success. Let me say that again. Your technical skills might get you in the door, but it's your EQ that gets you promoted. And let's just double-click on that for a second. When you look at the most critical leadership skills that everyone talks about, you see they are almost entirely powered by EQ. Inspiring and motivating other people, that's 90% EQ. Building trust, managing conflict, both 85%. Your ability to lead effectively is directly, and I mean directly, tied to how well you've mastered this inner operating system. So, what's the ultimate organizational payoff for a leader who really masters this cycle? Well, it's the ability to intentionally shape their environment. On one level, they can influence the immediate climate, how it feels to work there day to day. But even more importantly, over the long term, they can shape the culture, the why behind the whole organization, its deep shared values and beliefs. Which brings us full circle, right back to that gap we talked about at the beginning, the one between what you achieve and how you feel. Because mastering this cycle is the key. It's the key to finally closing it. Think about that corporate executive who finally gets the CEO title, but feels totally alone and empty. By upgrading their inner OS, they can transform that hollow success into real fulfillment, leading a company that's driven by a shared purpose and a desire to mentor others. Or, think about the artist who wins all the awards but feels completely disconnected from their own work. By applying this cycle, they can shift from just chasing applause that feels hollow to creating art that has deep personal meaning for them, and because of that, truly connects with other people. At the end of the day, it really is this simple. The internal work of mastering your mindset and your state is the most direct bridge there is between external success and internal fulfillment. It's how you align what you do with who you are. Look, this isn't just a cool theory, it's a practice. It's something you do. So I'll leave you with a question to get you started on your own upgrade. Looking at your own patterns, your own triggers, what's just one line of your internal code that you will choose to rewrite, starting today?